Hey everybody, so today I have a special guest with me, somebody who I respect a lot in the world of coaching. Rishi, welcome to this podcast. This is not something that I usually do, but I had the opportunity to speak to Rishi, and I met Rishi over LinkedIn a few months ago. So Rishi is an ICF PCC, and he's also working with leaders and managers, helping teams, and he's doing transformative coaching, and is a co-author of a book that's coming up, The Rise of Manager as a Coach. So the reason I wanted to speak to Rishi and share it with everybody is because Rishi, like when I had the conversation with Rishi a few months ago, he spoke about letting go and like having an alignment between the energetic part of us and the logical part that wants us to take action in a planned manner. So over to you, Rishi. Welcome to this conversation.
Thank you so much, Akhilesh. Grateful to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just want to quickly talk about like two different topics, and I thought this will be useful for our fellow coaches, and especially if they're like solopreneurs, trying to make things happen by themselves. So you spoke about letting go last time we had this conversation, right? So in your experience and in your knowledge, what does letting go really mean in the context of entrepreneurship and in business?
Hmm. Well, let's understand what letting go means when I use those words, and then we can deduct it down to entrepreneurship and business. Because I'm not talking about letting go as a strategy or a thing to do. What I'm saying is we have to understand who's letting go, what's being let go of, and what we do when we use our logical brain. And we, as a society, as a culture, are obsessed with intellectuality and logical thinking. And to the extent that we've discounted every other mode of thinking. So
Mm.
when we say let go, what we're really doing is acknowledging the limitations of logic, limitations of language structures that logic operates in, and saying, hey, this is just one part of my brain. This is just one mind process. There's more to the human mind. If I let go of my obsession with this, maybe I can allow something else to come in and impact my day-to-day decision making. So we let go of this obsessive reliance on logic, and some people might call it listening to your intuition.
So it's the
The
same
way
thing.
yeah, the same thing. It's really the same thing. We're just talking about it in negative and positive.
Right.
And often I use this metaphor with my clients. I say, when you don't let go, it's like you're operating on battery power. When you let go, you're connected to mains.
Oh, wow. I love that.
So it's essentially letting go of something that is less effective in favor of something that's more effective. And when I say effective, I don't know if you read this book called Blink by Malcolm Gladwell. It
Mm.
talks about instant decision making without going through the entire process of logic. So there is a system, a mechanism that we have as human beings, all of us do, but we usually don't tap into it because we've not been taught about it. We've never practiced using it. So we tap into that mechanism, that subconscious processes, which get us to what we want to do, the clarity that we need, the courage that we need, the confidence that we need, without going through a process, without the becoming, by simply being that in the moment, simply by deciding to be that. So there's no process involved, there's no journey involved. It's instant transformation, radical.
Right. Okay. Interesting. Now, as you're talking about this, the thought that came to my mind is, so how can one get started? Like, to be honest with you, like I've told you this before, right? So I've had moments where I've experienced it, but I still not feel, it's for sure, like the large part of my day-to-day life, right? And I think a lot of people can resonate with this. I feel like it's still being controlled by the logical part, so the logical thinking jumps into play. Okay, what else can I do? Who else can I reach out to? Those kind of things. But I've had so many moments where I've experienced what you just spoke about, and the results have been amazing. So how can we make that more of a natural thing?
This is not an exhaustive response, but what I've seen usually work for people and has definitely worked for me is to see the value in it. So one of my mentors and coaches, who I worked with for a long period of time. His name is Michael Neal, based out of the US. He's a transformational coach. And he used this metaphor once that really stuck with me. He said, Rishi, if you're driving from your home to your office every day, and it takes you an hour to do that, and the traffic sucks, and you hate yourself on the commute,
Yeah.
and then you find out that there's a much shorter scenic route without any traffic that gets you there in 20 minutes. What would you now need to do to make yourself take the other route? And it was a rhetorical question.
Yeah. Okay.
So seeing the value, really getting what it's about, does it for us. I think it's not a conscious. Again, we have this need for control, and it's so ingrained that we need to control how to do that as well.
Yeah.
And letting go is really a counter to this whole thing.
Yeah. True. 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 I mean, this is exactly my question, right? So how can we, so I'll just give an example in a different context. So a few years ago, about 3 years ago, I became really overweight and, really out of shape. So at the time, I didn't have a proper exercise routine and my eating habits were all over the place because I'm a foodie. So I kind of like lost control over the eating habit at the time, right? So a friend of mine, and he became a friend later actually. So at the time when I first met him, he joined one of my coaching program, and he is a health and fitness coach. So what happened was, as I was coaching him to grow his health and fitness coaching business, I learned more about fitness, and I ended up hiring him as my health coach. So he helped me install that habits for having a control on, like, I can still eat what I want, but having a control over it. And he helped me make exercise and fitness a part of my lifestyle. So it really worked for me, and now I'm in a place where I can do it consistently. So the reason I'm talking about this is because how can we make it more of like you spoke about being. So how do we get into that being more so that this need to control doesn't control us?
That's a very well put statement. This need to control doesn't control us. And usually, when we're in the need to control, we don't see that the
Yeah.
desire to control is actually taking charge of our lives. Seeing that is the first step, obviously. But the being is the easy bit if you really get it, because it's a decision and a commitment away. So you
Mm.
need to understand what the words decision and commitment mean. So when you decide and commit to something, you hold yourself to your commitment regardless of whatever the circumstances are. And when I say the circumstances could be external or internal. Internal circumstances are moods, feelings, fluctuations. So commitment is a conscious, continuous decision making process
Okay.
where you decide something and you decide that you're going to decide that again and again and again.
Mm. Is
So
it
it's not a
like
one
is
time.
it like bringing our attention back to that one thing?
Exactly.
Oh, right.
And if you put it that way, essentially you have a thought, you give value to that thought. You're going to say, hey, I'm going to do this instead of this. And when other thoughts come, you say, hey, hang on a minute, this thought is more important because I choose it to be important.
Mm. Right. Mm. Okay. Now, my last question, because like I said, I just wanted to have a quick conversation with you. A few days ago, I spoke with a good buddy of mine, a LinkedIn buddy of mine. So, as I'm sure you might have met some really amazing people on LinkedIn. So, he's also somebody that I look up to and I respect a lot. So, from what I've experienced talking with him, he's very focused, very driven, and he has mentors in the world of business. And so he knows there are certain things that he needs to do, which for whatever reason is not being done at this moment, but he's planning and he's very serious and committed, right? So by talking with him, I was able to become aware of, okay, what else could I do in my business? Which, like there's this popular saying, right? What got you here won't get you there. So in moments like this, again, I was reminded of this thing that you spoke about a while ago. Like, okay, maybe if I take these 5 or 6 different logical steps, I could get there. But what if there was the intuitive path, right? That could probably get me there faster and with ease and being in flow. So what is your recommendation for people in this type of a scenario?
Hmm. Again, I'm not saying there's one better path than the other,
Yeah.
but I do say there's an effortless path.
Yeah. That's what I
And
meant to say. Yeah.
yeah. So when we make a plan and, especially in the long term, and we create a logical step-by-step process and we decide to go through that, what we are ignoring are a couple of things. Number one, we don't know the variables that affect our lives as we go through in time.
Hmm.
So you can make a plan today, but you have no idea what the situation will be when you actually come to executing.
Yeah.
The second is we are ignoring our ability to operate at our best in that moment in time. We are judging it by our ability to operate right now.
Mm,
So let's say I'm
I
operating, so
understand.
my best right now is always expanding because potential is always being expressed through me.
Yeah.
So if we're moving forward linearly in time, my potential tomorrow will always necessarily be greater than today.
Right.
That makes sense when you use it. Rather than deciding to use the potential you have available today to accomplish something, let's say, a year down the line, why would you not choose to use the potential that you have available then, which is much higher than what you have now? In other words, basically, we're talking about being present really.
Yeah.
Because when you are present in that moment, you have access to a higher level of intelligence.
Yeah.
And this can be interpreted in a spiritual way, in a psychological way, in even in a neuroscience perspective, that we operate better and with ease when we are in the moment.
Hmm.
So when you make a logical plan, what's happening is you're not in the moment, you're stuck up in your head about the plan.
Hmm.
And you're trying to look at your plan and look at reality and trying to match them.
Yeah.
The other way is you only look at reality and you respond to what reality gives you.
Hmm. So is it like you just okay, there are many things happening, and this is true for everybody in different areas of life, right? We all have things that happen. Some of them are pleasant, some of them maybe not so much. So are you saying that um, we just ignore everything that perhaps bothers us or stresses us and only think about what needs to be done right now and then do that? Is that what you mean?
In a way, but that's overly simplistic. But you're right, that's what I mean. But that doesn't convey the gist of it.
Okay.
Because what I mean is, when I say ignore everything and focus on one thing, what are we ignoring?
Yeah.
We are ignoring the noise in our minds. We are ignoring the bunch of barraging thoughts and emotions that are coming out of nowhere that are getting in the way of us being truly present with what is right now,
Yeah.
in favor of being with what is real.
Yeah. Hmm. Okay. Interesting. All right. So, for everybody watching, first of all, I want to appreciate all of you for watching, if you have watched, and if you can resonate with Rishi and if you find value in it, I'll tag Rishi on this post, so you can click on his profile and reach out to him if you want to have a conversation. Any last words you want to share, Rishi?
So, one thing I've seen is that this approach that we're talking about today, this is true for all human beings. But I've also seen that for a lot of people does not resonate, just means that they're not in that space in life right now.
Yeah.
So don't take this as truth. Look at what resonates with you, because the moment you say it resonates, it means it rings true for you. What I'm speaking is true for you somewhere deep within you.
Yeah.
So just look at that. Whatever resonates, take that. Whatever doesn't resonate, forget about it.
Okay, that's well put. So thank you again for your time and sharing your experience and knowledge with us.
Thank you, Akhilesh.
You're welcome.